To take the red or not the red. That is the. Oh shit! Hang on a sec. It's been a while. Hello, everyone. I am the real Nerf and. Okay. Long story short, yes. This is my long, update review of Titans. Hopefully, the final season, season 4. Now, couple of things. If this is the final season, pops off to that, and this will be, if I remember correctly, the following episode, since Retro's new setup is actually a lot helpful for yeah, damn it. Hang on. It's been a while. Okay, long story short, this is episodes 8 through 10. So, good news for, technically the first 2 back in almost several freaking months in between. What the shit? Now going to be called Max. Going to be in a few, weeks in this case. Long story short, the first 2 episodes back was 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago now as of this recording. And, it's basically a bottle episode with Dick, Corey, and Raven, which is actually pretty good. Mainly because the cinematography is infinitely better, and pretty much Tim and Bernard's relationship was fast-tracking like everyone kind of thought. It was going to be like that in the comics anyway. Also, I had to say this for Tim's case. We here in the Bat Family are very bisexual, visible. We recognize his sexuality. We went through this rigmarole last year. Long story short, he's still cool. We still think Bernard's cool, and maybe one day he'll be cool with our identities as vigilantes in some people's case. Bruce. Yeah. By the way, long story short, the Ian Glenn of the room. Long story short, he's not showing up at all. I don't even know if he's dead or not. If anything my guy did in season 3 is still technically canon, who knows at this point. It was a really good bottle episode, and another thing I've kind of noticed, and I think even Brother Waits will probably say on Twitter, even if that's still a thing, is that blue checkmark even worth it at this time? Anyway, Elon jokes aside, turns out him in a freaking pink polo, busting, Corrupt Cop ass in a church is apparently the best stunts he's done all season, because if reports are right, that means that, Nightwing suit he has is probably got more pounds than the actual 89 bat suit. Again, take that as you will, if that reporting on how the suit design even works is probably true, costuming-wise. Anyway, last 2 weeks' episodes is, can't believe I'm gonna say this, the best episodes of all of Titans. I know, shocking. It's kind of a low bar here, but yeah, for Ryan Potter, who plays, obviously, Beast Boy, it was the best Gar-focused episode he's probably had in the entire series, and you could definitely tell he got, screwed over as time went on. CG-wise, because not only he transformed into the usual tiger, he transformed to not 1, not 2, not 3, but multiple new animals that he probably should have done day 1 of the show, but CG budget's gonna CG budget, I guess. And, this week's episode was basically Brother Blood enacting not the horn, which was getting summed up as another way to get Trigon back. Again, the whole theme of season 4 is just, hey, you remember all the stuff we thought we could never bring back from season 1? We can't tie it together because we're just a hodgepodge of Elseworld stories? No, we're gonna do it now. It's well, why didn't you then? It was a whole thing. Anyway, long story short, he's not gonna blow that horn yet because apparently it gave a Goldston, wow. Can you tell I had breakfast in between takes here? Long story short, apparently just said, when I was doing Batman Forever, and I was totally right about, addictive new tech that's gonna supersede television, or at least in this case, broadcast, cable at the time. Yeah, imagine Brother Blood doing that, but with a killer app. What is it, 2015 writing? I don't know. Terminator Genesis jokes aside, yes, Retro actually reviewed that when it was new, if you can believe that card that if you want to see that. Embarrassing story. Long story short, the good news out of all that, in Gar's case, in his previous episode, was him going into the red. Apparently was an Animal Man rules kind of thing, but because it's Jeff Johns, he wanted to find a way to make it sound like a multiversal version of the Speed Force in, CW's case, for, obviously, Grant Gustin's Flash. Oh, and since we're also here, yes, I sat through trailer 2 of, Ezra Miller's The Flash, and long story short, yes, it's very Bruce-centric, and by Bruce-centric, I mean Keaton thing. The only reason why we're all going to see it anyway. So, long story short, it's good. And CinemaCon is saying that it's actually good. Then again, it's CinemaCon, so I won't know until actually day of this coming June. Yeah, I'm going to be bracing for it along with most of the Bat family. No, actually, we're pretty cool with it. Oh, come on, Tim. Seriously? No, seriously, we're cool with it. Oh, thanks, Dick. By the way, is it really... How are you Tactical Polo? I mean, we're kind of like that. Oh, they're kind of like that. So, the good news out of that whole episode, leading up to this week's episode, is that not only he saw into the multiverse, I guess the DC equivalent of the multiverse, not kidding, and this might be an actual story about Grant Morrison, who made a Stanley level cameo. Yeah, that Grant Morrison of a lot of Justice League, a lot of DC. He's DC royalty as far as like comic artists goes, in case anyone wants to know. And now thinks, much like in his real life, that he sees not only Beast Boy in this episode, meaning this reality that I cosplay as Jason sometimes is probably real in that canon. Back in character. Not only that, but there was an unconfirmed story that he hauled around through cons over the years that he swore he saw John Constantine once in a bar. Not kidding. That and Alan Moore, but it's Alan Moore, so anything he said could be weird or weirder than usual. So yeah, on to the last episode. This week's episode, like I said, was mostly killer app focused. And the end of that post-credit in 9 was Gar finally meeting up with the Doom Patrol again. And by Doom Patrol, I mean the current roster, because I think they had a different roster. Still Brenda Fraser, if you can believe that. And Matt Bomer, if you can also believe that, in that version of the team. But never really got around to seeing their Cyborg. And for those who remember any version of Titans, they're kind of the basic, like, team members, like, regardless in the roster. Myself included, I would probably be in that same roster with them. So, now you're probably wondering, where am I in all this? Their version of me, long story short. Kurdog, where's he at? He might show up next week because Bernard's technically in a coma, and that means there's probably going to be a focus arc for Tim, and it's the episode before the finale, and it makes the most sense that their version of me is going to show up, and my version of me is a domestic terrorist, more than I would have done if I ever went evil in the Pre-New 52, long story short. However, I got a weird feeling they're going to try to make him, like, forgive a lot of shit he did in Season 3, which is a lot, and a lot dumber than, my version of, Death in the Family, and my version of, obviously, Under the Red Hood. So, I don't know. I mean, as far as, like, real nerfifying Titan seasons, couple of things that I forgot to mention cinematography-wise throughout the Dick and Corey bottle episodes. The cinematography is infinitely better. Same for Gar when he got trapped in the red with his former Doom Patrol members. Cinematography, leagues better. But when we go back to the actual reality, guess what came back with it? The blue cinematography. Yeah, it's been more than just a Twitter joke. It's more than just a High Top Films joke. It's probably a joke within the cast. It has to be at this point. There's no other way. So, my overall review so far of these first 4 episodes back to finish off a season that is surprisingly doing an 11-hour push to finally do the thing, as far as Titans go, 3 out of 5. This is probably higher than I did when the show was new, so go to any of my previous seasons with Retro explaining that, if anything else. Long story short, could they pull a miracle out of their ass and, not try to push for a 5th season? It was that, or one of the other producers said, oh, we could do 10 seasons. Like, why? Why would you do 10 seasons? My head canon aside, me trying to get this new helmet to work, as usual, we'll let that go into the right, I don't know. Weirdhood aside, what did you think of these first 4 episodes back of Titans? Are you at all still watching the show? Is it just me? Because, please don't be just me. Long story short, going to the dual wield of the room, over here to the end cards for Retro's previous videos, and his upcoming short, which was probably going to be me talking more details that I forgot in not only this review, and probably catch-up details Retro's probably going to miss in his Scream 6 review later this weekend. With that all being said, I am the real Nerf Red Hood, and Titans made me come back into the Nerf gear. Is that my version of going to the red car? Is it? I don't even think it is. Anyway, notification down below for future episodes, which is probably going to be the 2-part finale. And will I show up? We'll find out next week, kids. Somehow, some way, it's still Titans. And yeah, it's still Titans.